Okay, so in this video, I'll give a very simple intro to deep learning and CNNs. Okay, so if you have been into machine learning, what is this new thing called deep learning is the question. Okay, so if you have been doing machine learning, let's imagine a use case where you have been given an image and you want to learn a machine learning model to predict whether the image contains a car or not. Okay, how would you do this? So you would typically be given 100 images containing a car, or maybe 1000 images containing a car, 1000 images that don't contain a car. Okay. So you would first extract some features. Now from images, what kind of features can you extract? Well, you could extract in a simple way. You could just extract, say, color histograms or intensity, saturation histograms, and so on. Or you could also extract more complicated image features like SIFT, scale invariant feature transforms, or ORB features and HOG features and whatnot. Okay. Using those features, you can train various kinds of machine learning models like decision trees, neural networks themselves, or naive Bayes and so on, various kinds of KNN, various kinds of classifiers, right? And then check out whichever gives you high accuracy, report the output, right? Now, in case of deep learning, you follow the similar stuff, in fact, right? However, you don't do any feature extraction, and you deal with neural networks only. Okay, that's the difference. So basically, you take the input and you give the raw data, really the pixel values themselves, the RGB values in the pixels themselves as input to your neural network. Okay, and the idea is that the deep learning models or these algorithms learn the feature representation as well as this classifier both together. Okay, so basically the feature representation as well as the classification thing is learned together in some senses. Okay, you don't need to do the hard work of figuring out the right features which are good for this task. Okay, and then it of course gives you the same kind of outputs whether the image contains a car or not. Okay. So this is the difference between ML and DL. Now, so as we said, deep learning is all neural network based. Okay, so the deep in deep learning really stands for how many layers you have in your network. So if you have lots of layers, it's called a deep network in that senses. Okay, so let's say you want to recognize objects in images using deep learning. So well, this is a very simple neural network model, and let's look at this graphic. Okay. So essentially here, basically this person just says when a user takes a photo, the app should check whether they are in a national park or not. Okay. So this person is basically just a user and giving requirements to a software engineer or basically a deep learning engineer. Okay. So, so when a user takes a photo, the app should check whether the person is in a national park or not. Now, how would you do this? Well, this person may be just a machine learning engineer. Okay, so she would just say, or maybe just a typical software engineer. She would just say, hey, sure, easy, GIS lookup, Geographic Information System lookup. I would basically just see that where is this person that long, and from that I can figure out whether this person is in a national park or not. Okay, give me a few hours and I'll code it up. Okay. Now the next question this guy may ask and check whether the photo is of a bird or not. Okay. Now that's a difficult question. That's a cognitively much complex task. There is no GIS lookup. There is no way that you can say whether this thing contains a bird or not without doing any form of learning. Okay. So basically this person will just, if they don't know machine learning, DL, etc., they'll just say I need a research team and 5 years to actually solve this problem. Okay. But given enough amounts of labeled data, you can actually solve this problem very quickly by learning deep learning models. Okay, and which is why for images specifically, the deep learning community has come up with something called as CNNs, convolutional neural networks, which is the topic of this video. Okay, so these are typical simple neural network models. For example, here given some features of a flat you want to estimate, or a house you want to estimate its price, and so on. But hey, now we are talking about images. So how do you really build deep learning models for images? That's the question. Okay. So deep learning on images really depends on huge data. So you do need large amounts of data. For example, this MNIST data set of handwritten digits is very popular. So given these images, what you want to do is to actually predict if this image is for which number, number from 0 to 9, right? So this is for 8 for sure, right? So, and it turns out that everything in terms of images, when you look at images, when a programmer looks at images, everything is just numbers, right? For example, this image 8 is actually a bunch of bunch of these numbers essentially that you see. So this is a grayscale image, so there's only one number per pixel in that sense. Okay. So thus this particular image can actually be thought of as an array of 324 numbers with like an 18 cross 18 image. Now, if you have typical neural network, what you could do is to take these 324 inputs and pass it on to a hidden layer, which may have some size, maybe like 1000, and then at the end there's a single neuron which just predicts whether it is an 8 or not, something of that sort. Okay, and your training data looks like this. So your training data basically contains all bunch of numbers with their actual labels also, that hey, this is 8, this is 2, this is 7, 7, 5, 7, and so on. Okay. Now the idea is, let's take this image. Let's say this is the test image of this kind. So prediction from our network basically says 100% it's an 8, because this is basically an 8-centered image. I mean, the center you do have 8 right here. Okay. Now let's say that you take another test image where the 8 is not in the center, it's in the side. Okay, and you pass to our network, the network that we just built, this kind of a network. You pass through this network and basically says, hey, this is no idea. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know in the sense it will basically give you almost equal probabilities for 8 and not 8, and then you don't know. Basically, you can't figure out nicely. Okay, and that's because it's not taking care of the invariance in terms of translation of 8 across the image. So if 8 was in the center, well, in most of the training images, the number was in the center. So now if the test time, if you give an image of this kind, the number is not in the center, this model is not going to learn that well. Okay. Similarly, if you have a 5, it basically clearly says it is not an 8. But if you have a 5 at the top, well, the network does not know exactly what to do. Okay. So now what do? So in these particular cases, and also in other cases where the image size is large, the typical multi-layered perceptrons or the typical artificial neural networks of this kind are not enough. Okay, you need something else. Okay, and let's see what we can do. So one way is to brute force search with a sliding window. So what you could do, given a test image, you could basically divide into different tiles, so to say, maybe overlapping ones, and then for each of them actually ask our network, hey, what do you think? Okay. So for most of it, it will basically say no idea. Well, it looks like an empty image to me. I don't know. But at least at particular point when the image is actually, the window is so the 8 appears at the center of the window, they basically come up with saying 100% an 8, and you can depend on that. That's great. Okay. So another brute force idea is to search with a sliding window, but with more data and deep neural networks. So basically, what you could do is to improve the accuracy of your model, you basically have this as the original. So this was about changing the stuff at the test time, but here is what you could change at the train time. So if this is the image that you had, you actually take the same image and create like 6 copies of it, such that in some cases it is centered, the 8 is centered right here. So for example, this is exactly this. But in some cases, 8 is here, it is basically translated to some side, some part of the image, or it's basically zoomed in, zoomed out, and so on. So taking care of all kinds of invariances like zoom invariance and translation invariance, and in fact something like rotation invariance also in some senses. Okay, so you could generate a whole bunch of such training data and then actually train a much deeper network. So in the sense, since you have larger amounts of data, maybe you could train with multiple hidden layers in between. Okay. Well, if you have lots of compute power, for example, multiple GPUs of this kind, sure, you can do that as well. Okay. Well, now the best solution to handle images is using convolution neural networks. And let us see how convolution neural networks achieves this kind of translation or rotation or zoom invariance, and also basically helps us learn with smaller amounts of weights, small number of weights, and therefore with lesser compute power also. Okay. So one of the basic working principle of CNNs is to break the image into overlapping image tiles, so to say. Okay, think of this particular image rather than every neuron in the first hidden layer looking at every single pixel on the image. Basically, looks at only all the pixels within a tile. Okay, so notice that these tiles can be overlapping in nature. So there is some overlap between these two tiles from the original image. Okay. The second principle is you feed each image tile to a smaller neural network. Okay. Now remember, if you were to feed this entire thing, you'll have to feed it to a much larger neural network, in the sense that each hidden layer neuron is going to look at every other input, right? But now, since you are dealing with tiles, you basically a neuron is only looking at this small patch, not the entire image at all. Okay. So that's the nice part, that you need much smaller neural network to be able to process a single tile. Okay. So you take the input tile, you have a small neural network, you get some outputs, okay? And what you do, you basically actually save the results from each tile into a new array, okay? So you have these small neural networks which basically work on each tile. You have these small little outputs coming out from them. And you combine all of those outputs and you get an output array. So essentially what you have is, this is your original input image. And what you have is a smaller array which is basically the outputs of various neural networks, of small little neural networks. Okay. On the way, you also do downsampling, as it is said. So essentially saying that you do not really take all the inputs, but in fact aggregate these, or rather you do not take all the outputs generated by these small neural networks, but sort of aggregate them and take the basic learnings from them. Okay. So for example, you could take this output array and then cut them into different pieces, partition them into various tiles, and with each tile now, you basically just take the maximum number. Okay. Now it might seem a little non-intuitive, why would you just take the maximum number? But the idea is that you want to basically do whatever operations you do, you want to retain those operations and keep them in your network. So at test time also you would do the same thing. Okay. And when you're doing a maximum over these kind of tiles, what you're trying to ask is that, hey, is there a dog or is there an 8 in this particular picture? You know, doesn't matter whether it is here, 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 or here. You just take the max. You know, you just basically ask, is there a particular, a particular thing in this small patch or not? Okay. And since this decision is binary, you basically just take the max part and just put it out there. Okay. Okay, so all in all, a CNN comprises of various different steps. Take the input image, tile them, run these small little convolutions or small little neural networks, get some output. Okay, these small neural networks, when you apply them, they are called as convolutions. Okay, so and what the output that you get, you do max pooling over it, in the sense take the maximum number in a tile. And then at the end, you still have some fully connected layers, so to say, as we've had in our naive network, in the beginning before we started discussing CNNs. Okay, but this fully connected network now is a very small one. Okay, because here when you do convolution and max pooling, the image size reduces over time. The output size is very small. Okay, and therefore this is very small overall. The number of weights here. End to end, the number of weights are much smaller than you would need in a deep, fully connected network. Okay, and when finally you can still output likelihood it is a match or it is not a match and so on, or whatever is your classification goal. Okay, so this is an example of a CNN called as AlexNet. Okay. So because AlexNet became very popular in 2012 when Alex actually proposed this network for doing image classification on the popular ImageNet dataset. Okay, so as you see, there is a few convolutions, then max pooling, convolutions, max pooling, and so on. Conv pool are repeated, and then at the end you have these dense layers or the fully connected layers, and finally you have the output. Okay, so that's that. Now people have used CNNs across a whole bunch of image classification tasks. For example, classifying whether an image contains bird or not. Okay, so for example, these are a few bird images, these are a few non-bird images, and they have been very successful in using CNNs to actually learn these kinds of things. Some results basically show that you can get up to accuracies in like 90s, 95 kind of accuracies when you basically deploy CNNs for these image processing tasks. Okay, people have been using convolutional neural networks for doing various kinds of things. For example, face recognition, or for example, image classification, even combined with other kinds of neural networks, doing image captioning, right? Or for detecting rare whales using satellite maps, or sort of building maps directly using satellite images and so on. Okay, so lots of applications where there's large amount of data and image data, you would rather use convolutional neural networks rather than actually using traditional machine learning or using typical fully connected neural networks. Okay, so that's in short how a convolutional neural network is different from a typical traditional neural network.